Welcome, everybody, to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. Talking about the mud flood. The mud flood was Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they're willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. Just two guys talking about the end times, RJ. And tonight, we're going to put a timestamp on it. And I'm excited
Well,
because you don't really know what's going on. I didn't share too many of the tabs.
this month is about what, depending on where you are, less than a half dozen hours from being half over.
Yeah. Beware the Ides of April. April 15th is the tax man. It's also, Hitler's birthday is in 4 days. A lot of things happen around that time of year. My lunch break, the phenomenon of the mud flood, flat earth, hidden age, put out a video. I think it was today or last night. It was just amazing. I'm going to give you a timestamp. We'll go over some of the information about education, the hats, the mortar boards, trying to get a timestamp on it. But what's going on with you, Randy? What's going on in the world today? I saw that the president, Trump, fell asleep in court today. He had court. He fell asleep.
Yeah, it could be. I
Oh,
heard
you
he
were
was.
working all day. You didn't
Yeah,
see that.
no, I had the 15-foot mower
Wow. Okay.
going for over 4 hours. I was doing that.
How much acreage does that cut in 4 hours?
Well, it's rated 7 acres an hour.
Okay. So
But I
I
didn't.
love that little pond that you have out there, like a little park where
Yeah,
you should put a driving range and stuff. I love it.
yeah, I didn't cut 28 acres, but for me, 25. I had it going.
Yeah, well, now you got it done, man. And you had an early spring there anyway. He's in the center
Yeah,
of
this is summer style weather, not
all money
spring
is
weather.
brand new from the lunch break. Now, I guess, okay, so it was a month ago. It has 59,000 views and 30 products. I don't know what that means.
Great fires all over the world happened in the 1800s and took basically nobody's life. We know that the population spiked around the 1800s from basically nobody to billions of people in just the last 200 years, where we are starting to pin the start date of our current timeline down. Because today, we're taking this research a step further. Today, we are looking into the money. On April 2nd, 1792, the U.S. Congress passed the Mint Act, which was the beginning of the dollar. It was also the first country in the world to adopt the decimal system for.
I think that's a big deal. The decimal system, it just seems like with the meter, the pound.
Well, it included the decimal,
Mm,
because bits, that's 12 and a half cents. So that really, it's kind of a decimal, but
yeah, that's right. That's a fraction. He's referencing, if you don't know it, 2
that's
bits,
a half a
4 bits,
quarter. That's
6 bits,
way,
a dollar.
yeah.
If you can't hear me, stand up and holler or something. It's a cheer.
So yeah, it could be, yeah, sliced up. Not that they had a a 1 bit coin, but the quarter represented 2 bits.
And we got to. They probably had that 6 pence or something too. Here we go.
Yeah,
Currency.
possibly.
And now when we go over to the UK and see that they also started to use the British pound in 1707, making it the official currency of the UK when England and Scotland united to form a single country. Even China making a brand new currency in 19.
Isn't that the year that the fake Israel was founded and the fake United Nations was instituted by Satan? And then
Yeah, I believe
China.
that's a popular number for a date, a year.
And then China's there like, let's just get some new money because Chairman Mao is going to be a commie, and communism. But we've got this new money. Everything just happened to people.
1948. This new currency was introduced in 1948, taking over the previous currency, which was introduced in 1889. All of these currencies all
And if
started
you see that, it was introduced in 1889, influenced by the peso because of the Spanish secession. All our history is the last 315 years. We got about 20 years left. That's all the history we know. Everything else was star forts, baby. Everything else was Jesus Christ, star forts, and then the 1,000-year reigns. Satan's loosed, and now we're living this lie. Anything before I hit go?
No, yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
starting within the last 300 years worldwide, where we can go to Russia and see that their currency also begins in 1704. So apparently, in the 1600s, nobody had any money. And yet, we're told that they were knocking out palaces all over the world.
He's not a Christian, and people love him or hate him. I watch all of his stuff. Sometimes like a month late. I didn't know this was. I thought it was brand new, but he pretty much nails it, doesn't he?
Well, when it comes to critiquing the narrative and
I
just,
honestly appreciate
the
him.
absurdness.
Yeah, it's a breath of fresh air. Just like, look, quit pulling the wool over my eyes. I know there's some lies going on here. He hasn't had the movement of the Holy Spirit, so how can we blame him? He's still, though, a rational man, reasoning. He's someone that we could sit down with and say, let us reason together. Now, if somebody comes at me going like, yeah, all this timeline is so messed up and I don't trust Apostle Paul, I'd rather talk to my lunch break than somebody pretending to be a Christian,
Yeah, he's fine with logic, and that's a start.
Right.
Probably. I think he's clear thinking.
Okay, so we'll save it. So we've got that, but let's keep that dates going. Here's this. Storm's coming, I guess. Let's see what Ryan Hall says.
I will let you know the next time you should hear something.
So apparently we got 2 or 3 days of tornadoes going to tear up the Midwest.
Some more.
All right. So keep those dates in mind. We're not going to the pictures very early because we're going to tie that back in with my lunch break. In my mind, it's great. Nathan of Gaza sounds very biblical, right? Nathan, the prophet Nathan, helped David so much and famous. Actually, the son, I believe it was the third son of David, was named Nathan, and the Lord Jesus Christ descended through the son of David named Nathan. But this is not that Nathan. This is Nathan of Gaza. He's a Jewish Messiah claimant. Oh, no, he's a prophet. He became famous as a prophet for the Jewish Messiah claimant, Sabbath-loving Zevi. Oh, Sabbatai Levi. The Sabbatarians today, this is who they worship. They don't know it. The people in the Seventh-day Adventist, the Sabbatarians, they worship Sabbatarian Levi, like Nathan of Gaza was his famous prophet when, well, he got assassinated at the end of the Golden Age. That whole in between 1666 Julian calendar and 1711 Gregorian is a mess. And Sabbatarians and all these fake Christians, like we'll just get into, because I don't want to confuse the Sabbatai Levi with Nathan of Gaza, who was his prophet. Born in Jerusalem, died on January 11, 1680, Sephardic Jew. Of course, studied the Talmud, the Kabbalah under the, the famous Jewish people. And he propped up this guy. He had a prophecy of, not only mental visualization, it was a big, big deal. And I'm not going to give you the whole history of him because I don't know it. I only find it funny that with only a few followers of the Sabbath lovers, it was in Thessaloniki. So
So it's funny and suspicious.
it's funny and suspicious. It's way more suspicious than funny.
Right.
Here's this guy, his legacy. By the 1800s, the Domne, who had become prominent in the tobacco and textile trades, they established progressive schools. This is the 1800s. And some members became politically active, known as the Young Turks, as late as today. In 1923, they had a population exchange after the World War One, and little's known about the Donmi. I'm just breaking you down with the Sabbath lovers today. They worship this guy. Sabbath loving Christians worship the man who faked conversion and entered a new religion, but to secretly kept the Kabbalah going. You might not believe it, but some people in the Turkeys, the members of the House of Parliament, they think Turkish politics are saying that there's Jews pretending to be Muslims in Turkish politics, and others dismiss it as anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. I think that they are true. The Domne was founded by the Sabbath-loving Sabbatai Zevi, ordained mystic, Jewish mystic Ottoman, right at the end of the 1,000-year reign of Christ. Constantinople was, say no more, forced, after being so popular and claiming to be, I am the true Messiah, and they claim it was a worldwide religion, and as much as Tartaria, Sabbatai Zevi has been scrubbed from history. I've only recently stumbled upon him, and they've only recently been talking about him. Like, where's the time? The big thing. This is last edited. Zevi. No, it's because it's brand new. So anyway, he gets captured, and they forced the conversion. Nehemiah, however, escaped to Constantinople, where he pretended to embrace Islam to get an audience. Fakey, fake. Zevi appears before the Sultan and cast off his Jewish garb, put on a Turkish turban, thereby accomplishing his conversion to Islam.
So when was the Istanbul name changed to Constantinople? What year?
1948. I think it was 1948. Istanbul is Constantinople now. It's Istanbul,
Yeah.
Constantinople. It's nobody's
so
business but the
that's
Turks. But 1666, he cast off his Jewish garb and started pretending to be Islam. But you know what he was really doing? Yeah, man, he was doing that apostasy. He was teaching them the Kabbalah, getting them to worship on the 17th of Tammuz.
Right.
And the 9th of Av. They still do that today to celebrate the great Sabbatai, the Sabbath-loving liar Zevi. What about that? Crazy, man. All about the same time for it. Hey, what's up with these mortar board?
Like
Why
black.
do you do this to? What are you doing to me, man? Why do you do this? I looked up mortar board, mortar boards. We'll go through a few of them here. Okay, mortar board though. This isn't the mortar board hat. No, that's the mortar board hat. This is the Mortarboard National Honor Society, of which they only have, reverse this number, they only allow 233, okay, that's 332. And if you don't know, search that. That's a pretty important number too. The skull and bones who run this country. So anyway, mortarboard. That's what they call themselves. Syracuse, New York, 1918. First National Honor Society for women. How about that? Mortar.
Good for them, yeah.
A lot of times people think that all the evil in the world is from men. I know girls they're equally as evil. At least, or more, because they're better.
It's 5 years after the money cartel was formed. Yeah, whatever.
So how do we do that? It's like eventually though, let's see some of their notable. Okay, founded for women. Who's their notable? Drew Brees. How did he get in there? Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter. Yeah, he's good. Rudy Giuliani. Sandra Day O'Connor. Bruce Littlefield. Bruce, come on, man. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a neighborly day in the beauty. Would you be my? Hey, she was an astronaut for a hot minute. So was she. They died, both of them. But don't join that sorority or fraternity now. Now they accept men and women. They do. Obviously, because Drew Brees is a man, and I don't think you can play in the NFL unless you're a man. Weird, right? What's with
sounds again more suspicion?
Yeah. What's up with this academic square cap that Blackbeard may or may not, Blackbeard may or may not be wearing? It's just a weird hat. People wear weird hats.
It looks the same. It just looks the same.
People just wear weird hats. They just, it's how it looks on them that day. It's an academic gown. What is the academic? Goes back to the academy, which is the word for a grove of trees where, who was it? Plato was teaching his people, and everybody that learns anything knows you got to go back to Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, those guys, and the academy. This is the Oxford cap, the academic dress. We'll look at that grinning, So it's a Roman Catholic clergy. Everybody's got to throw gang signs with their hats. And honestly, if they don't know what we're talking about, Blackbeard is whoever drew his hat and his beard and stuff in that one. So here's their colors. Everybody's got a color. Mine would be purple, philosophy, and things like religion, theology, divinity is scarlet, the sciences. So they got it all figured out. You got to get your folding mortar boards. But honestly, I was very disappointed about coming down to, I couldn't find much on, like, here's the history of it, It's just something that everybody has their own version of it, man. Academic dress, though, that basically, it comes back until, the 1700s, because not many people ever went to college before that. Somehow, we have these famous people, Isaac Newton. Oh, you're so smart, we'll give you a doctorate at 16, It seemed like it was hard to get that stuff. So we'll just look at a few academic dresses. There's somebody winning a prize, and I guess this is the academic dress. It's green. This is, wow, this is the symbols on their page. They just keep, he's a doctor of philosophy. I thought that they don't wear mortar boards when they're doctors. Maybe that's another country. I'm going to zip through these again. There might be a couple more. Okay, there's Erasmus of Rotterdam. I guess that's a scholar's robe. It's not just comfy and warm while he's writing. That's a scholar's, Scholars are smart. They want to be warm. That looks very witch-like, doesn't it?
He had 3 rings on that one hand.
He sure does. That's not a sign of poverty.
Yeah, probably not.
Unless he got a good deal on him at a garage sale. Because I've got
Mhm.
some stuff that's okay and it's nice, but I didn't buy it new. I don't need to buy all that expensive stuff. Heard a great lecture today about Mahatma Gandhi in class. Had a class on something philosophy, and just he was so wonderful, loving, peace Hindu. That's that Hindu Buddhist style. I didn't raise my hand because I've been in enough. You know, just want to get
Yeah.
this year over with. What about the caste system, Gandhi? What about all those people you thought were born to serve you and could never go any higher and shouldn't look you in the eye? I got a real problem with Hindus teaching peace to me when they got a freaking caste system, so they can hush. Got that off my chest. Look at this guy. He's a really academic.
Entirely possible in politics. He changed his mind. And so, in his manifesto, he said quite clearly, the present quarrel, this manifesto was meant to draw in men and money to the cause, and it certainly did. The present quarrel turns upon these 2 points, the restoring our lawful natural king and the dissolving the union. Marr implemented the cess taxes at pre-union levels. He wrote, for example, to Spalding of Ashton Tully on offering him a colonel's commission, whether the king lands or not, our aim is to march south, dissolve the union, and redress the grievances of Scotland. In a further declaration, Marr noted that he resolved at the hazard of his life and fortune to what
All of this, this is happening in 1715 because of events that happened in 1711, i.e., Satan loose from the pit. And here's our history starting. The Jacobites. Well, Jacobites wear Phrygian caps, and that's what the United States Army uses on their flagpole as a Phrygian cap. So does Argentina. So do tons of other countries. Some people have Scottish presidents, Trump, who are hooked up and they can pretend to be Christian at the right time and fool the world. That's the world we're living in, man. And it's hard to get people to realize that. Maybe we'll come back to that. But in the 1715 rising, the main takeaway in our limited amount of time is that it suspended habeas corpus. Show me the body, where's this guy you arrested? Because whenever a government, it'd be pretty hard to prove them wrong when you say, hey, our government's wrong, and they throw you in jail and nobody gets to hear you prove. So that's a pretty powerful thing. I want people to know that was the main takeaway of the Jacobite rising. Well, what precipitated it? I mean, because remember when the world didn't have any population, and I haven't forgotten. We're going to close with those statistics and things. But we see the cities built for thousands and thousands. We saw the proof of not only their clothes and the way they dressed and the way they lived, but we showed what was it, a couple of 100 square miles that had 65,000 water mills that were powering cities. They had a 1900 census. In the introduction it says there was obviously some confusion back then because they're listing more colleges in 1840 than we have students in college in 1900. So there's never been anything except confusion about when did Satan get loosed. And now, before that, was it 1666? Was it Gregorian? Was it Julian? They claim a 1688 glorious revolution in King James II, King James, Protestant, Bloody Mary, Queen of Scots. It's all right there. It's the House of Stuart fighting the propped up House of Habsburgs. Who's going to listen to who? But the argument was basically over, should we have a king or a parliament run us? Who should be our government? And should our government believe in the Trinity or should our government believe in what? So the habeas corpus That's something that we always hear about, but never really get down to it. Do you know anything about it, RJ?
Oh, it doesn't sound like English, but maybe it is.
It's like Latin for something, but
Yeah,
even that can get pretty vague. Uh,
sure.
but the United States did it. You know,
Yeah.
we'll suspend in the Civil War. Abraham Lincoln said, "No more telling the truth. No more trying to prove that there's some underhanded shenanigans going on. It's just I will throw your ass in jail." It's kind of like the Sedition Act of 1818 when people they were throwing Jehovah's Witnesses and other people in jail for saying this is the end of the world. This is a takeover. They've got our money. They've done everything. Throw their ass in jail and arrest them, and they did. So, wow, habeas corpus. It's big, you know. Gee, they even mentioned that the Francis Scott Key Bridge will get struck the year that the people realize the truth and accept the Lord and Savior as God of the universe. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what it did say. When Lincoln's dismissal of Justice Taney's ruling was criticized in an editorial that month by a prominent Baltimore newspaper editor, Frank Key Howard, Francis Scott Key's grandson, and Justice Taney's great nephew by marriage. What a close crowd. He himself was arrested by federal troops without trial. How outrageous. He was imprisoned in Fort McHenry, which, as he noted, was the same fort where the Star Spangled Banner had been waving over the land of the free in his grandfather's song. Who runs the world? A very limited amount of people, it would appear.
The mafia?
So, the religious mafia. What is here? We're gonna that you have the body. Medieval Latin. It's not only not Latin, it's medieval Latin, and that's different. It means that you have the body is a recourse in law by which a report can be made to a court in the events of an unlawful detention or imprisonment. Well, I wonder why Julian Assange had to quit publishing all that inflammatory stuff on the WikiLeaks, and then you're an enemy of the United States, you damn reporter. Great and efficacious writ in all matter of legal confinement, William Blackstone wrote, so that would have had to have been around 1710, 1706, I'm not quite sure. When did that guy do all that fantastic writing? Well, it would have had to have been before 1780 and after 1723.
Blackstone, Blackbeard, whatever.
We'll see. Are you throwing any hand signs?
Possibly.
I don't see it. He's not showing us some other fingers. There's the reverse. Dude, you know what? You don't need that third biscuit. Just lay off the third biscuit, okay? You'll be okay without it. He's a famous person. Everybody, common law. Everybody always talks about him. King George III, big fan. He will not lay off the biscuits. What in the world is Roman Dutch law? Something from the 1700s, the 1600s. It is a variety of European continental civil law and jus commune, common law. Huh. Okay.
So that's what the Roman and the Dutch had in common?
How could they walk
Common
together
law?
unless they agreed on the Roman Dutch? It sounds very honky. Cracker. I don't know.
More suspicion.
Roman law was progressively abandoned during the early ages that you don't believe in.
How dark was it?
How dark were the dark ages? It was just overcast that day. Theodosian Code, never heard of it. And excerpts of the Latter-day Saints, Latter-day Imperial Constitutions, the enactments were well known. You know, I don't know how things were well known without the text messaging and things,
Mhm.
but somehow they got the word out. Justinic Code, Justinian 1. That put add 1,000 on Justinian 1. Could he have been, you know? So, but isn't it interesting, RJ, that it is, do we want, you know, we want a king over us or a parliament, you know, people rule, because all the other nations had kings, but how did Israel rule? Parliament or dictator?
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to want it incorporated so you don't have the liability thing going on, because with the insurance and everything that they're going to.
Wait till you see the big finish. I'm not gonna tell you anything else, but you remember you brought up assurance. You brought it up. Free companies. Notice how Paco is just staying focused and moving on and keeping his shows about an hour and a half, because it's what the people want. Free companies. You had to pay for the free army company, man. You guys are gonna love this. Here they are, just happy, free company. In look at that grinning monkey. Darn, it's like looking in a mirror, man. It looks like me when I was young. What did he? Oh, they're just robbing the town. They're
Dragging a basket of booty.
It's robbing the Star Fort. This guy here, he's not too happy. He goes like, "Why do I have to kill everybody? I could be dragging off booty." Dang it!
Yeah.
But it's so pastel-y, you know. People love pastels.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this one's heavy. Well, look at this guy. He's dragging it on the ground. You got a wheel. Would you stop complaining? You
So they got their pantyhose. They got their legs are two different colors or whatever it is. It's tights.
if you
Tight.
they're retards. I mean, they're tard Venus pilgrim, which, you know, they pillaged the Gramont, those tards. Is this pastel-y? It sure is. You only get the free companies represented in pastels. We will rock you. They're killing them with rocks. That's why
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of the band. So, you know, the free company, or called a great company, is just army of mercenaries. So if you take off the 1,000 years, you would say that when people came out of what they call the Dark Ages, you know, it's like they come out of the caves, there's the survivors, they're being ruled with a rod of iron. They were greeted by some tares, some wolves in sheep's clothing, going like, if anybody bothers you, we'll help defend your village for free, because we're just those kind of guys. All you have to do is give us room and board. And they regularly ended up making their living by plunder when they weren't employed. And then after Satan was not, you know, was Satan's no nations, so it's all tribes and free mercenary groups running around operating outside the highly structured law of arms. The free company often applied to these companies of soldiers formed after the peace of 100 Years' Wars, Catalan controversy, Holy Roman Empire's plagues, but they just kept getting bigger and bigger until eventually
It wasn't free anymore. You had to
they
pay
would just
for it.
take over your city. And then
Yeah.
it became brigands recruited from all nations in a time when there were no nations, because they might have had nations, but they couldn't be deceived anymore.
Well,
So
they're more kingdoms, weren't they?
you had to start brigands. You know, they want to call them nations because they were going to develop into a one world nation. You have to have nation. You have to have nations fight nations. You have to have nations based on color. I don't know, man.
But they needed some sort of common currency where they can throw up all them buildings in the 1800s.
Right, and that's the
No.
thing. Where's all the money?
Going, the logistics of the mule and donkeys and horses, getting all the materials on site.
Right. If they don't have, we don't have no money, but here's 60 days worth of meals. Well, how are they going to keep it fresh if what they told us was true? They, salt was their refrigerator, or so JP Morgan just started 17, that's a pretty big bank. All the money, this is from that 1704, they introduce the first regular minting of the ruble and silver. The yuan, we saw that, based on, influenced by the peso. The peso was widespread in Southeast Asia. That right there, okay, it's just a sentence. Okay. The peso was widespread in Southeast. They're not even close to each other, RJ. That's what some people are going like, well, maybe it's just,
But if they're
no.
minting it in silver, everything would represent 1 ounce.
Yeah, the peso was the
Like a dollar.
yeah, when you buy a gold, like one of their a Corona, it's 1 ounce. It's like a Cougarand. It's the same thing. You buy a
Yeah,
Cougarand, you buy a Corona.
but the face value when it was minted
Oh,
was
why
a
did they
dollar.
pick an ounce? Yeah, I get it. They use the same common measurements that go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's fake. They faked it. So we saw some of these on that earlier. I wanted to just slow it down. In 1955, a new renminbi yuan was created that equaled 10,000 of the old in order to remedy inflation. Huh. Wonder if there's any of that in your future. Hopefully it'll hold it off until 2028 or something. Because that's going to be the most important election of our time.
Okay, the next question. With precious metals, there's a troy weight, right?
Yeah. Troy ounce.
And that's in ounces, or is that in the decimal or whatever?
That is something that we need to, we studied coal gas last night. I wanted to just remind people that coal gas, town criers, people that lit the streets, all of those were lit. They just went and turned them on. It was the kit towns and everything, or the Salem, Massachusetts, they came wired. They were ready for coal gas. It wasn't a big deal. What the heck is a troy ounce? I think it's like 12 ounces. A troy pound would be 12 ounces instead of 16. But
it isn't like a conversion to
yeah, I think it's exactly like a conversion.
no,
Yeah,
but I mean, instead of the English measurement, weight, pound, like a kilogram, that as far as
oh, it originated in the 1400s. All right, what the heck? Primarily used for precious metals.
so is that
Troy
like
weight units are grain, the grain, and the penny weight.
So does that go back to the temple, for weights and measures and whatever? Is that something that a carryover of then, or is it's unique?
Well, intuitively that sounds good, but I'm going to look into it. I'm not just going to, but that sounds like intuitively like we're on it. Yeah, what the hell? That's almost a 32. I'll look into this more later. I know that you don't want to move markers, and gosh, the Lord hates dishonest weights and balances.
Landmarks and yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep your weights and balances always accurate, or you'll be judged. Oh no, that troy ounce. That's weird, man. So here's the world population, and he goes, you heard him. He goes, like, oh, so it
Yep.
all started around the 1800s. Well, it kind of looks like it. Like, well, here's the 1600s, 16. It kind of looks like it kind of takes off here, you know, and it's going to grow slower to where, yeah, it looks like it really takes off in the 1800s and 1900s. But remember, there's a very remnant. There's been the reaping. The grapes of wrath have been sown. The good fruit had been reaped. And there's us here. Who knows how many? Not very many. It takes a while to get this hockey shaped graph. So it's not the 1800s. It was the 1711. The modern pencil. A scientist. It took him to a. That's our big claim. Since this, everything we didn't backward engineer, maybe they did invent the pencil. Well, this is the global population too. So, according to the mainstream narrative, more visuals on the years so that you can see the breakdown to the start of the rise here, and more visuals, more better. There's your thumbnail. Esto Perpetua. This was one of those Jacobians. No, was it? Who was it? These people. Oh, this was the first insurance company that was founded in that time period, and this is their proof of the first time that men got together, and for assurance sake, they decided they would insure together. Amazing. The Amicable Society for a Perpetual Assurance Office. The first company to offer life insurance. 1706. Wow. I just thought we couldn't go without seeing, this was the old train station in Detroit. They don't use it anymore. They don't need it. Oh no, this is Buffalo. There is all of the big town. Everything's, people. Yeah, sure. We built this. They built it. Our grandpas built it. Come on. Everybody's living in towns that they inherited. They could make some bridges, but it's coming back to Star Fort time. We have the Bible. We know what we can and can't do. It's time to reason together. It all started at the Erie Canal, with the videos. The second video was about the Erie Canal. The first one was about Oklahoma City on Flat Earth Nation. People have to start noticing all of these pillars, not only in the Erie Canal, but around the world, they all have this distinctive marker. You know, they call them Roman aqueducts, built for the Erie Canal in 1718. I oh, 1817 to 1825. So please, everyone, I would like you to consider the fact that the Bible is true, that the mud flood was Armageddon, and that we're under God's judgment right now. The storms, the elections, these aren't going to be, oh God, please make this all work out for the United States. It goes like this. Oh God, thank you for forgiving my sins. That's what it's a personal thing. Because very soon, nobody's going to care if you like the Chicago Bears or the Green Bay Packers or the San Francisco 49ers. They are all just distractions for what really matters, and that's their personal view of Jesus Christ. That's the whole message, RJ. That's what it's all coming down to.
Yeah, yeah. There's still sand in the hourglass, way it seems, you know,
Yeah.
but it's limited. This does not go on indefinitely. No,
We could
there's a,
I didn't plan on doing 45 minutes, and I get this, with the last month of school, and the finals week is less than a month away now, and that's shit. I have to do 5 hours of mandatory videos about how to treat people and what discrimination is. These are mandatory. You don't get your credits unless you watch them. I should do
oh,
a
you're not
live.
saying before you engage in that lawsuit.
I'm not going to say I am going to engage in a lawsuit. I am trusting the Father, and I don't know where I'm going to school or what I'm doing next year. I know I'm planning on making a video about weights and measurements somewhere in the near future.
I was gonna say, if you engage in a lawsuit, I'd find it hard to believe that you get by with just 5 hours.
No, it's everybody has to watch it. Everybody has
Yeah.
to watch these to graduate. Where are you? Oh, there it is. Uh, check this out. Remember all that, the Jacobians and everything. They always wanted, give me liberty or give me death. Libertas. It's the big deal for them. Am I sharing?
Yep, you are.
Okay. It's a Roman goddess.
So what's
It's
this coinage? Or it looks like
the
coinage.
personification of liberty. Yeah. If they didn't have money, they had a pretty good representation of it. Lunch break's talking about the modern world, anything we know in our time, right? This, for all we know, we don't know their years, RJ. You remind everyone of that all the time. We don't know what the real date is. This
Well,
is
right, but
really.
so in all reality, whatever, if you have what is whatever metal, say 99% pure silver or 99% pure gold, and w- why would you have to put an expiration date on it? Or
Well, I
when it
think
was
they
made
usually
even?
just want to know the year that it was made so that they can go back to that batch of, because Henry VIII, famous for, off with their heads, that I want another wife. He was caught in what they called the great money debasement, where he was making coinage like this, except it was only half gold, and he was just,
Right.
people caught him, and it was very embarrassing. You don't get to hear about that. But of course, the
Yeah,
liberty is always associated with, it can never be separated from the Phrygian cap. Frig Ian. Liberty cap. Soft conical cap. It's certainly not a mortar board. But that's like looking in a mirror when Randy was young. Jeez.
hmm
The Jacobian cap. It's on the coinage. It's on the walls. It's on the Rome. And it happened in 1666, 1711. The same people with the same arguments. Who's going to rule over us? Are we free or are we slaves? We're going to work. Are we working for ourselves or are we working for the man? Does the man appreciate our work? Phrygian caps, they just keeps coming back, RJ. The three wise men represented as Jacobians, Phrygian caps, Orientals. What? I don't get it. the first primitive version, you do see sometimes where it's not the soft conical hat. It has a more wider brim, 1660. Look at her. She's got her feet on a lion. She's not even scared.
Is it a she?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't.
Because I mean,
Yeah, it says Dutch maiden carries her liberty on a pole.
oh, well,
Now we're looking, you know, this looks like it could be the fife and drum from the famous picture in the United States of the little drummer boy, with the same
yeah,
hats, the same ragged crew, but it's not.
yeah, of the Revolutionary.
Yeah, you know the picture I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
I can't remember the guy's name, Sanger or
with
something.
and someone blowing I don't know.
And in all their cartoons, here's the Phrygian cap up here.
Yep.
And of course, they always emphasize the cleavage and the boobs on the. A lot of times in the France, they'll just throw the dress right open. Like
Stay
here's.
clear of that vortex with
Oh
that thing.
yeah, yeah. They're not even looking at it. They're not worried about it. But they should be. These guys. I wish I understood their political cartoonage. Where these guys following in their wake, obviously, but sharks following in their wake.
The Corellis effect? Is that yeah, the age-old question with Earth. Is it moving or is it stationary?
Yeah. I don't even think that came up, brother. I think it was just so stationary. But look at this. This actually is, what's the difference between the way they minted back then? And we're probably using their same minting machines, brother.
Was the I in Americans the same as the 1 and the date?
Just because.
Huh?
Why are you so suspicious all the time? Because they had it 1,000 years, man. Nonsense, yes. Do you think we spoke Latin in the United States? Do you think everybody understood that? I know that Al Gore didn't when they, what was it? E pluribus unum or something. It's out of many one or something. He goes, yeah, I forget what he thought he said. What's on to Haiti? How are we associated with Haiti and Argentina? I thought that the United States was the light on the hill by themselves. Hey, that's the same handshake for the people that formed the first insurance company.
Haiti isn't a very stable country currently, I don't think.
Yeah. Colombia, they got the Phrygian cap, they got the cornucopia, they got the promised liberty. And you know what? If you study their history, they lived the good life, man, for a while there. From like the 1920 to 1970, before people go like, you're dumb Mexicans and we're going to take over your country. Hey, these were the same pictures from the other one, the Phrygian cap. What? That doesn't a very good pic. There you go. There you go. The fascist, the fascista. That fashionable footwear though. Do like that. Where's the compass? There's the square. There's there's your boob, and there's your Phrygian cap, and there's your mortar board.
And that's a plumb line hanging off the square.
Yes, from the middle. Good eye. Yeah. Where's the hatchet? Maybe the square.
Well, that is your compass then.
Oh, here you go.
For doing the degrees, the plumb.
Marianne is another name. This is commemorating the passage of the Slave Act. So here's your liberty. We're going to celebrate Slave Act. Oh,
Come to me.
will you die for mommy? Will you
In
die
the
for
Phrygian
me?
cap.
Effigy of the Republic. That's a stretch for a Phrygian cap, but this is Wikipedia, so they know what they're talking about.
So 1 foot exposed. Is that
Yeah, that's always common, and they usually have it out leaning over the pedestal. Yeah, every you have to watch every little thing. That's how come it
each detail
the
isn't just a coincidence.
right. That's why there's the toe sneaking out on the Statue of Liberty, exposing a little bit of her manacled ankle. We've all been set
Whoops.
free.
No,
Yep,
that one's the
Spanish,
mirror
more
image. No,
boobs. This is a
that's the other
PG
boob though.
13 PG 13 show. We see it's got the mysterious cocktail. It's mentioned in the Bible. It's very weird. No chickens are mentioned in the Old Testament. Just
But there's the globe and the snakes. So that's that.
the
That has some,
caduceus. Yep. There's their medical symbol,
yeah.
sickle
And
and
then
sheath.
she's hanging out, and it's like how they hanging.
The
The scale.
telegraph.
There's something there.
Yep. Fair, balanced. I honestly do not understand the fascination,
They
except
are
it's just so anti-biblical that no biblical woman would ever say that's okay. I'm going to go hang out in the street like that and represent freedom. Freedom. We prize our rights, our liberties. We will maintain. Tread not on me. We'll die and kill you for mommy. When mommy calls, we'll line up. Because what are we defending anyway? What is this supposed liberty that we have? How is it expressed in our daily lives? We have been promised a trip to the moon, but everything is a lie. And what it comes down to is the reason they've promised so much and they've given so much love and promise of hope for Mars is so that it'll hurt more when it takes it away. That's the only reason, RJ. They they are sadistic. They are evil. It's been good. You've been happy. If you liked your doctor, you could keep him. It's all going away. The United States has been proven the bad guy who has been helping the false Jews, and now the rest of the world has said, it's the third estate rising up. We don't need your fake petrodollar anymore. And yet we have 90% of the Republican Party going, if we could only re-elect the Scottish, Phrygian cap wearing, fake Christ professing Donald Trump, we'll be okay.
Well, if they could follow the Constitution, which they can't, and it's the takeover, back, what was it, in 58, you said, when you had to sign the affidavit if you want to have your direct deposit going.
Right, you don't get paid unless you sign the affidavit. In 1958, nobody working for the government got paid unless they admitted the government had not been taken over by force or coercion. If you want your money, sign this.
Yeah.
They all signed it except one congressman from Tennessee, and he got fired. He didn't get paid. So
it's been taken over, long before then. It's just at that time in history, they made you whatever, Scouts Honor or something. That
it really does seem that that something I talked about a year and a half, 2 years ago, wrote down, showed it all the time, broke down the notebook that has that the 7 churches of Revelation who all fell away could be broken down into 49.7 years, or the 335 breaks down to, I think it's 47.93 years. If you break those down, it seems like there was a reset, because people don't remember the United States. Our grandparents never told us that how shocking it was when blacks got to vote, or how shocking it was when the blacks got to be on the TV and it was Bill Cosby and he was a spy. Wait, blacks on the movies and TVs have only ever been taxi drivers and butlers legally. They couldn't drink at the same drinking fountain. They were treated like we had the Indian caste system, and blacks, you were down there. And now our whole history is somehow we've got to rewrite it where we were the good guys. We weren't like South Africa. South Africa learned the one drop rule from the United States. Everything just happened, people. And the only way you're going to get the truth is to go back and study the old videos of what we said, or tune in tomorrow, because we do about 10 shows a week telling you the absolute truth. Randy, I'm ending it now with more viewers, 31, than we've had since before COVID, when we used to, when we were blowing up the world with the Stones crying out, walking to gold, telling everybody that the 1,000 years is over. We've been doing it pre-COVID, and now this is over and it's all coming. And you should have been listening then, because it's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past, as was the name of the show in 2016. And now we know, since that show was taken off and banned by YouTube, started over again. And like that hockey stick that's going back up, soon everybody's going to know everything Jesus said in the Bible was true.
Yep.
Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arrivederci. Ciao. Sayonara.